Hello everyone! Today we'll be talking about flat style or flat design. This is a unique approach to depicting architecture, interiors, and even gardens, where the main goal is to create a conceptual image that doesn't aim for realism. At first glance, this style might seem simple, like a collage, but for the work to look harmonious and cohesive, there are a few important rules to follow. Today we will try to define these principles. The first principle is using muted tones to add a certain softness to the picture. Flat style relies on using flat, simplified characters and objects without much detail. These can be silhouettes or just flat figures. When we have a space, whether created in 3D or as a sketch, we will use similarly stylized flat textures. It is important to avoid photorealistic textures, and instead we are going to choose those that are as stylized as possible, with muted shades. Even if we use photographs, it is best to stylize them with a muted effect so that they fit the overall composition. And if we are adding interior objects, at least a few of them should have a flat style to maintain visual consistency of the image. By using a flat design style, we create a sense of lightness and focus, avoiding any unnecessary details. Let's try to apply these principles in Procreate and see how it works in practice. Today we're going to create a simple shape, an entrance to a store, which we will decorate and bring to life with a festive touch. I have attached some flat style characters for you to use. They have a bit of volume with a single tone shadow, but they still fit within the flat style. I have also included a few decorative elements for us to use. Here we will practice adjusting the elements, as some parts may need to be drawn, while others can be simply copied and pasted. We're going to focus on arranging everything into a cohesive image, harmonizing tones and maintaining the style in the decorations, so that everything looks well balanced. To start, let's load the template I attached to the lesson. Scale the drawing using uniform transformation, and make sure that all lines are closed properly. Insert the images of people. There are silhouettes of people that can be used for both street and interior settings. Choose the ones you like. I'll pick this couple. I will select it, copy, and immediately place it. I adjust their size to fit the entrance of the store, keeping in mind that the height of the door is about 2.5 meters, so we need to maintain the scale. People are essential in architectural illustrations, visualizations, and images to provide scale, as well as to add mood and style to the image. Now I'll activate the layer with the decorations. I'll place the tree on the left side of the entrance and slightly stretch it with the transformation tool to get it to the right size. I'll separate each object so that it's easier to work with. Next, I'll position decorations above the store entrance. For the garland, I'll rotate it by grabbing the green rotation handle, and then I'll slightly reduce its size. I'll turn off snapping and assemble the garland from several parts, merging the layers and erasing any excess with the eraser. I'll go to the layers and duplicate the tree. Then, I'll adjust hue, saturation and brightness to match the tree's color with the garland. Notice that the garland is a warm green, while the tree is a cooler green. So, I go into Adjustments and choose Hue, Saturation, Brightness to adjust the color to match the style of the image. Now I see that the composition lacks volume, and the tree looks a bit plain. So I'll duplicate the layer, select the copy that is placed on the lower layer and make it slightly darker. Why is it needed? Well, first of all, it is needed for balance. The garland leaves are more complex in shape, while the tree was flat and looked less interesting in comparison. Next, I'll press Warp and slightly adjust the shape of the tree to make it more interesting. Notice that it isn't a shadow. I'm using Warp to deform the tree in different directions rather than shifting it only one way. I'll stretch it a little in various directions to give it a subtle sense of depth. Once everything is ready, I'll merge the layers. These changes have made the tree look livelier, and that pairs well with the garland. Now I'm going to add some decorations to the tree that resemble those on the garland to maintain the style. There are two options. I can either copy a ball from the garland or draw one. I'll add a new layer. Pick a color with the eyedropper tool. Then go to the brush library, open the airbrush folder and choose a medium hard brush. I'll create a circle with soft edges and use a lighter color with a soft brush to add highlights, which add a sense of volume to the ball. I go back to the layers, copy the ornament and place it around the tree, adjusting the size using Transformation tool. The ornaments shouldn't be too small or too large. To speed up the process, I'll group several layers and duplicate them, flipping them horizontally or vertically. When finished, I'll merge all the ornaments into a single layer. As we are trying to stay consistent in our style, it is essential to align the small details in style as well. I'll merge the tree, the decorations, and the people, and then turn off the layer. Now let's move on to the building itself. We want to convey various textures: glass doors, a rusty steel portal, and a lightly plastered gray concrete wall. We will add texture to the surfaces to achieve this effect. To select the needed areas, we can use the selection tool with rectangle for simpler shapes. For more complex shapes, there is another approach. First, let's ensure that the lines of the drawing reach the very edges of the canvas so that all areas are completely closed. Then, you can use automatic selection. After selecting, create a new layer to add the color fill. This is important because flat style doesn't use outlines, or sometimes it can use outlines, but only white. If you look at the examples of flat style, you will see that outlines are absent. This is a defining characteristic of this style, so we will turn off our outline at the end. But first, we will use it for selecting, and then we will switch to another layer. Now let's select a gray shade and fill in the wall. Next, I'll take a slightly darker color and use textured brushes, sometimes even unexpected ones, to create a plaster-like effect. If the selection deactivates, hold down the stylus to reactivate it. Adjusting the brush size and opacity, I'll add strokes to the wall. Then, I'll select the outline and fill it with an orange color on a separate layer. Now I'll select the depth of the doorway. Return to the color layer and fill it in. I'll add a shadow at the bottom to give it more sense of dimension. I turn off the outline, and now it appears white because we didn't select it directly to fill it. We only worked around it. In this style, white outlines are preferable over black outlines, though ideally we wouldn't use any outline at all. Now I'll select the area for the glass doors and fill it with a grayish-blue tone. Next, I'll use the flat brush to add an outline to the doors. To activate Drawing Assist, go to Actions, enable it, then disable it, and then you'll be able to see that setting for the layer that you are working on. I'll select a small area at the top of the door and make it darker to suggest a shadow, making the glass appear more detailed. We can leave the floor as it is, since it is already clear. We will turn the decoration layer back on. I can see that the wall is very bright, so I'll reduce the opacity on the color layer. After all the adjustments, I can say that the work is completed in flat style. Now I'll select the layers, scale down the image, and create a store card. You can add a name or a greeting. I'll add the phrase "Be happy." I'll choose a font that fits our style for a cohesive look. I'll select the text and use the kerning function to increase the spacing between letters. I'll make the text plain white to support the white outline, the floor, and the background. Then I'll transform the text and position it near the edge of the wall, creating an interesting graphic effect. A touch of incompleteness, as if the text extends beyond the usual rectangular boundaries, adding some creativity. Finally, I'll make some canvas adjustments. You can style the entrance to your home or to a store in the same way, adding unique details that reflect your personality. Instead of using generic people, you can draw them yourself. Add a message and send the card to neighbors or colleagues. I'm sure it will bring them joy.